Hey guys, before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to share a quick message from one of our sponsors and one of my favorite rave brands, Rave Couture. Rave Couture celebrates women of all shapes, sizes, and colors, and their collections feature trendy and unique pieces that make you feel super confident. We've got some show and tell today. I'm also wearing the brand new earrings from the Lunita Part 2 collection. You guys have to check it out. It's an absolutely incredible new collection that they just launched, which features a beautiful pastel color scheme, lace detailing, and accompanying accessories line, also in collaboration with Lunatics. Head over to roletacouture.com to shop and use code EmmaK for 15% off. That's roletacouture.com, code EmmaK for 15% off your orders. And don't forget, you guys, with Rave Couture, sexy has no size.
Think about the whole festival. That might make you feel really shitty like the next 2 days.
Hey there, welcome to Rave Culture Cast, your weekly guide to the EDM community, music festivals, and more, hosted by me, Emma Capotis. Each week, I'll be covering everything from dance music culture, industry news, trending topics, and festival tips, advice, and reviews. You can also expect to hear stories from ravers, artists, business owners, and more. Tune in every Wednesday for your weekly dose of peace, love, unity, and respect. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Rave Culture Cast, your weekly guide to the EDM community, music festivals, and more. I'm your host, Emma Capotis. Welcome back to the podcast, fam. How are we all feeling? I'm sending everybody good vibes this week. I'm in such a great mood, which is shocking because it's like a Monday afternoon right now. But honestly, I just got back from vacation. We're looking nice and tan in this week's podcast episode. Yeah, I'll just catch you guys up on what's been going on. I haven't recorded in like 2 weeks, so I hope you've been enjoying the episodes coming out so far, and thank you for all the love and support on them. But yeah, I went away with my family. We go to Hilton Head, South Carolina every few years, and we also love to go to Savannah, Georgia as well, one of my favorite cities ever, and we had just such a nice, relaxing vacation. It was such good quality time with my family. I read a couple books, like just hung out, got off social media a little bit, took a little bit of a break from work. We still did a couple things, but it was just such a nice break. So I'm feeling like very refreshed and excited. And I've talked about this before, but that was kind of like the last break, I would say, before we get into the craziness that is going to be September, October, and November. So some of you might know I have 4 festivals coming up, my first one being this weekend. And then I'm also going to be traveling to a friend's wedding in Utah. And then I also have my bachelorette party in Miami coming up. So it's going to be literally nonstop September through November. So we're fully fucking ready. And I cannot wait to dive into this. I cannot wait to go to my first festival and just like get this thing going. Because I literally feel like I've been waiting for this since the pandemic began in March 2020. And like we've been on pause and now it's going to be go, go, go. So that's where I'm at right now. Like I mentioned, quick updates. I'm going to Arc Music Festival this weekend. Hope to see you guys there. I cannot wait for this. This is going to be an interesting experience for me because I am working at this event. So I am going for Gray Area, which is the platform that I work for. It's a house music hub. If you guys love house, check out Enter Gray Area, at Enter Gray Area on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or on all the places. So I'm going to be working the event. We're doing a bunch of interviews with artists, which is going to be incredible. And I'm going to be bopping around, creating a whole bunch of content there. So it's going to be such an incredible experience and I can't wait for it. I am hosting a meetup with Vibe with Aid. So excited about it. So it's going to be Sunday, September 5th. We had to change the time because again, like I'm not really sure where I'm going to be and when, but we're going to do 7 p.m. Central Time. And I have like a little map. So definitely go over to my Instagram page because that's all up there at Emma Capotis. And yeah, again, Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. It's basically at in between the ARC car and the grid stage. There's a little, on the map, it shows like a little liquor vendor kind of station. So we're going to try and meet up there. For anybody attending EZU this weekend, I will not be at EZU, but I am going to be doing a Rave Culture Cast meetup in collaboration with, I was going to say Lunatics, in collaboration with Lunchbox. So if you guys want to meet other ravers, meet other Lunchbox fan members, Rave Culture Cast community members, definitely drop by. I don't have the timing as of right now, but it's going to be early to mid-afternoon on Saturday. So definitely follow Lunchbox so that you can stay up to date with everything. But they're going to have the Lunchbox flag there. I'm going to send my Rave Culture Cast flag. So look out for that. Again, more details to come, but plenty of opportunities for meetups coming up in the next few months, you guys. So if you aren't already, definitely check out the Rave Culture Cast Facebook group and Discord channel. All of my updates about meetups will be going in there so you can stay up to date with everything. But I can't even tell you how good it feels to know I'm finally going to see some of you guys in person. So really, really excited for all of that. All right, with all of that being said and out of the way, let's dive into this week's artist highlight. So this week I want to shout out an artist that I've been listening to nonstop. I wouldn't say he's relatively new to me. I think this might have been like maybe late 2019, early 2020 discovery. Kyle Watson. Love him. Such a good house artist. Are we surprised? But I don't know. He's got something special and unique about him. He's a little bit more chilled out, if you can say that. Like very melody driven, very groovy, bass line heavy. Really great music for like a club atmosphere, but also like kind of chill and vibey, so you can just like listen to it whenever. I just love his sound. I think it's really incredible. There's like the beats in it are just so good. He's not so much like deep house, but if you guys like Lane 8, I would definitely recommend checking out Kyle Watson. I feel like they're somewhat similar. Some favorite songs by him are I Got You, Sides, and Magic Carpet. So definitely check out Kyle Watson, you guys. He is my artist highlight of the week. We're absolutely loving what he is doing. Alrighty, and with all of that being said, I want to dive right into our guest this week because this is a really, I think, special episode and one that I'm really proud of working on with my friend Jess. She goes by @PartySafer with Jess. Some of you guys might have seen her posts on TikTok, maybe on Instagram, but she has really dedicated her spare time to working on harm reduction and just trying to make sure people have a safe festival experience. So again, as we go into a very packed fall festival season, I thought it would be really, really good to have her on to talk about a number of different ways you can protect yourself and keep yourself safe. I did recently do an episode specifically on harm reduction around substances with Rachel from Dance Safe, so definitely check out that episode. It's a couple ones back. I think it was over the summer, earlier summer. But today we are going to touch a little bit on substance use, but in general we're going to talk about how to protect yourself, how to look after your health before, during, and after the event. We're going to talk about hearing damage and why you should be wearing earplugs. We're going to talk a lot about how to protect yourself because we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and obviously a lot of festivals are coming out with new entry requirements. But we're going to talk about all of that, safety first. So I really hope you get something valuable out of this episode. Definitely, again, go show Jess some love and support @PartySafer with Jess. She's got incredible videos on how to test your drug kits and all of that. Also, if you are listening today, which is on Wednesday, September 1st, we are actually going to do my first Instagram live on Rave Culture Cast, and Jess is going to do a demonstration of how to properly test your drugs. So definitely tune in at Rave Culture Cast tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll be going live with Jess to do like a mock drug testing kit scenario so you guys can see how that works, and she'll be on there to answer questions. So hopefully you guys will pop in over there today. So yeah, if you guys enjoy this, it would be a huge, huge favor if you would make this your Instagram stories today or share this with a friend or somebody that you think would find this information valuable. And with all that being said, please join me in welcoming Party Safer with Jess to the podcast. Today, I have a special guest. She goes by Party Safer with Jess online, but Jess is somebody who dedicates her whole page to harm reduction and just making sure people have a safe festival experience. And I really wanted to have her on today to just chat about all different things safety related. So we're going to touch on a whole bunch of different topics today, but I feel like this is really important to chat about going into another festival season and with the state of the world right now. So please join me in welcoming Jess to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's been a good week and I'm ready. I'm ready for festivals coming up, ready for fall festival season.
Yes.
But yeah, obviously have some concerns. I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah. And then, we actually just met in person, which was awesome. So we met twice, but Jess is local to the area. Are you in New Jersey or you're in New York?
Yeah.
New Jersey, right? Okay, sweet. Yeah. So we met at very briefly at the Elro show at the Mirage, and then again at Jaws's show a couple weekends ago. So it's nice to like know people in this community in the area, especially when we've been online at home.
I know you were the first person that I met
in the community.
Through I guess my TikTok that I met in person. So that was really exciting.
Funny. Yeah, no, it's so nice to connect. Yeah. And like meet people, especially like locally in the area, to have shows to go to and stuff like that. But yeah. Okay. So before we dive into all the hot topics today, would love for you to just give a little background, just like about yourself, what you do outside of this, and a little bit about how you started your page too.
Yeah, sure. So I've been a raver for like 10 years, and I also have worked in the field of like substance use and harm reduction for 6 years, and I have my master's in public health. So sort of what I do online is a great blend of like what I enjoy doing and then also what I do professionally. And my work in substance use has spanned like a bunch of different facets. So like research and evaluation, education and outreach, policy and advocacy, and I guess now content creation. And I volunteer with DanceSafe, and I've also interned for their national office on a grant that was, aimed at trying to get test kits legalized across the country. Now I run Party Safer with Jess, and mostly on TikTok, but also getting my Instagram up to speed too.
Yeah, I know each platform is a lot to manage on their own, but you have a huge audience on TikTok. Clearly you're striking a nerve with people, and this is like something people need to know about. But that's interesting. I didn't realize you had a public health background. So this very much hits home, and you clearly are super passionate about talking about this.
Yeah, I actually graduated with my master's, like literally right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was like, this is so fitting.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, is there anything like, we're going to like dive into a lot of stuff today, but just from like the content you've been doing online so far, is there anything that's like really stood out to you that kind of either took off, or you're like, wow, this content really, really resonates with people and I need to be doing a lot more of it?
Yeah, definitely the drug checking content. That was the first thing that I went viral with. I posted a video like teaching people how to use fentanyl test strips. And most of the videos that I post about drug checking get a lot of engagement. So I think people are really interested in knowing how to do it, knowing more about it, or to get test kits. Because it's really, people tend to think that it's pretty straightforward, but then when I actually like teach people how to do it, I think they realize it's actually not as straightforward as you might think. And you really do need to do it properly, or else you might as well not be doing it at all, honestly.
Right. No. Oh my God. That's so true. I mean, it's so funny you said that, because like the podcast episodes I do about this topic, like substance use, are like the most viewed or most listened to. And at first I was like, oh, I don't want this to become like just a podcast that's like about substance use or drugs or anything like that. But on the flip side, it's like, yeah, but if more people are getting the helpful information and have a better understanding and are more likely then to go buy a test and do this properly, then we've served our purpose. And I'd rather talk about it more often if people really have an interest in it or didn't know at all, which I'm sure most people probably haven't tested anything, which is the problem here.
It really blows my mind that there are still people who are not testing their drugs, and that's not the fault of them. There's such a severe lack of drug education in this country, and I think that that's probably the reason for it. But on the other hand, I feel like there have been a lot of efforts to get drug checking to be, bring awareness to drug checking. So I'm just like, I can't believe people are still not testing their drugs
on this. Yeah. I know, it's crazy. I get questions like too a lot of the time. I literally just posted a poll the other day talking about like festival safety and questions that you wouldn't normally ask. And I got a few questions like, oh, do you ever buy stuff at an event? And I was like, here we go. Absolutely not. Unless, DanceSafe, I spoke to Rachel from DanceSafe, and they do have some tents at like some events where you can go get things tested on site. But for the most part, it is a little bit scary that's kind of like the attitude that some people have. But I'm glad you're breaking things down and making them easier. And again, before we get started, plug where everybody can find that information in your pages so they can go check these out.
Yep. So I'm Party Safer at Party Safer with Jess on Instagram and TikTok.
Beautiful. Okay. So Before we dive into all that stuff, guys, you just got a little bit of a taste before we pop off fully here. I want to chat a little bit just about like safety in general, because we are going to talk a little bit about COVID and how you can, protect yourself and ways you can feel a little bit safer attending events. And we're also going to talk a little bit about hearing loss today, because I've really enjoyed the posts you've been doing about that. But when you get ready for an event or for a festival, like what are the measures you take to kind of like fully prepare for an event?
Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say that I have like a religious routine, because it obviously depends on the type of festival, whether it's like a camping festival or a city festival. But there are always definitely a few things that I try to do before I leave. And usually those are sort of centered around making sure that I'm fully prepared for whatever I'm going to encounter at the festival. And then also like setting my future self up for success when I get home. So I don't have to worry about anything and I can just like get home and relax. So the first thing is I have like a Google sheet of a packing list that I can sort of like make changes as I go. I can check things off just to ensure that I have everything that I need. So that I don't like get to the festival and realize that I've forgotten something, because I am really forgetful. And I feel like I always, like, no matter where I go, I feel like I always have that feeling of like, am I forgetting something? So yes, the checklist is a great way to make sure that I have everything, all of my like harm reduction supplies and, all of the proper clothing.
Vaccine card now.
Yeah,
add it to the list.
I need to add that to the list.
I'm literally, that's my biggest fear now. I'm like, I'm going to forget my fucking vaccine card.
That's a great point. Yeah. Actually, at Elements, they're going to be requiring, what is it called? Crowd Pass, which is like an external validation company. So you just like, I don't even think, I'm probably going to bring it anyway, but I think you just need to like upload it and then they'll have someone verify it and then you get like a barcode. So I really hope that more festivals start doing that, because I don't think a lot of them are just allowing a picture. Yeah. And I can see people taking advantage of that system. So I hope more people start using like a verification service.
Yeah, because at least if it's I think I think my friend BB was saying in New York, it's either like the Clear app or something like that where it is digital. But that way, like if I don't know how it's going to happen because I haven't done an event yet that has the entry requirements, but yeah, either if it's your real one or it's on an app and they can literally scan it and it pops up all of your information and shows it accurately. Yeah. Like that would be best case scenario, I think.
Totally. But I digress. So I guess other things that I do just to get ready for the festival. I always check the weather so that I can like plan and pack accordingly. And I've like made the mistake of not, preparing for the proper weather before. Yeah. And like, I always encourage people to prepare for rain regardless of what the weather says, because that can happen unexpectedly. It's happened to me before. And if it's going to be cold, prepare for it to be like 20 degrees colder than you like expect. Yeah, exactly. Because if you're camping, that can get really rough. And then I try to like schedule things ahead of time for like when I get home from the festival. That'll sort of like help me ease back into real life. So like massages or yoga classes. And then one time me and my boyfriend went to a hot spring spa after we got home from the gorge. Nice. So if you're anywhere, like if you're at the gorge or like anywhere in the Pacific Northwest or anywhere near any hot spring spa, I highly recommend doing that after a festival. We drove like straight there and it was just so relaxing and really like helped us ease back in.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's such a good suggestion. Yeah, anything that will make you feel better. I'm on the massage train 100%. You just reminded me I need to book that for after EDC. For the big ones, it's like definitely necessary. Some people even I know pack like the foam rollers and stuff for the camping trips just to like roll out your muscles, because especially as you get older, it's necessary.
Yeah. I always encourage people also like I feel like most festivals have like yoga classes now. Just to like, you're exercising so much. So being able to like stretch and sort of get limber and prepare your body for like a full day of dancing. And then also, it'll help like prevent any injuries. So I always encourage people to do that. I know it's early sometimes, a lot of the times, but it really is wonderful to participate in those classes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I know it's really cool to see like a lot of these wellness shops and stuff like that festivals are doing now, but there's plenty of that prep beforehand. I feel like how long have you been attending festivals?
Almost 10 years now.
Okay. So yeah, you got your routine down pat 100%. Like you've lived the experiences, so you fucking know. Okay. Yeah. Cause I was gonna say, if anybody's listening, that's early in your career, like literally about to go to your first event, like you'll establish these things over time, but hopefully by listening to these, like it will just inspire you to start planning and getting things together. I'm right there with you with lists. I like absolutely swear by them. Cause anytime you just think of something random, just throw it on your list. So you don't forget, like external battery chargers, like all of that stuff. It comes in super handy. And when you get to the event, what are some things that cause obviously like there are situations that people can get into at an event if people are inebriated or under the influence, whatever it might be. How do you feel safe at an event? Like, what do you do when you're actually there to like make you feel more comfortable attending a festival?
So I like to locate the EMS tent. Like when I first get there's a few things that I do, like when I first get inside, locate EMS for myself. And just in case anybody else is having a medical emergency, it just sort of eliminates that step of having to like look on the map or like pull open your phone. So it saves you time, which is very valuable when you're dealing with a medical emergency.
Yeah.
I also like to locate all the water stations, just so I have an awareness of where those are, so I can hopefully just like get in and out. Although, I feel like more times than not, there's the line, which is good. There shouldn't be a line, but it's good that there's that many people who need water. So, let's see what else. For camping festivals, I always recommend getting there before it gets dark, so that you can set up your campsite and just make sure that everything is like laid out and prepared for you. So that when you get back, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, because, things happen, and you don't want to be doing any of that in the dark. And then also, if you're taking drugs, that's going to make things very challenging to have to set up a tent and set up all of your camping stuff. And I guess that's all I can think of for right now.
Yeah, those are definitely, you made me just think of too, because I haven't done a camping festival, so maybe you can speak to this, and this could go for anybody, but like, especially as a female, there are things you think about a little bit more. And I have thought about that. Like normally for the most part, I will always be with a friend, but even walking back to your tent at night, I've watched people's vlogs and there's like not much lighting around and things like that. So how do you handle situations like that, where either people, because I've heard stories of people waking up and someone's in their freaking tent that they don't know. And like that shit scares me to death. But I feel like at campgrounds, especially, it can get like a little tricky there to just like keep yourself safe. So I don't know if buddy system is just like the best way to go, so you have somebody with you. But how do you handle those kinds of situations?
Yeah, buddy system for sure. But in reality, that's not always going to be the case. If you like have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, you're not going to probably not going to wake. Yeah, exactly. I always pack a headlamp so that I have light, and so that it sort of like warns other people. We call it, what do we call it? Never mind. I forget. Like when you blind someone and it's like a deer in the headlights. Try not to do that, but like it happens. But it warns people that you're coming. So that you don't scare other people as well, because other people walking in the middle of the night are probably just as scared as you are. But that's a great way to just stay safe and like be aware of your surroundings if you're in that kind of a situation.
Yeah, headlamp is definitely clutch, because it's little things you wouldn't even think about. Even like the mini flashlight keychains. I feel like I'm gonna end up getting one of those, because like, yes, your phone has a light, but that's only so bright. So I feel like it will be helpful to have those other little things around campgrounds.
Yeah. And plus, if you have a phone, if you're using your phone flashlight and you're going to the bathroom, what are you going to do? Like, unless you have your bag with you, I guess, but like, you want to eliminate the risk of anything falling into the porta potty as much as possible. So
True.
I just, I like being hands-free. And I think that's probably like one of my most essential camping festival items.
Perfect. Okay. You also touched on, which I do the exact same thing, the water refill stations and locating those at festivals. I know we'll get into this a little bit today, but you always hear content creators, whoever, like people saying, drink water, stay hydrated. It's like almost the number one rule that people say, like when you go to festivals, this is how you should be prepared. Can you talk a little bit about why it's important to stay hydrated and why people do always reference that, especially if people are going to be taking substances?
So water is life. We obviously need water to maintain a lot of different bodily functions. And when you are at a festival, and a lot of, festivals are in the summer, so a lot of the times they're really hot, and you're exercising, you are losing a lot of, you're going to get dehydrated. So you need to maintain your hydration levels, for energy, for lots of different things. And also when you're using substances, that, some substances can sort of like exacerbate the risk of heat stroke. So staying hydrated can mitigate the risk of heat stroke, which is probably like one of the most common emergencies at festivals. A lot of the times, like, when you hear of like someone overdosed at a festival, like in the media, it's actually like falsely reported as an overdose, because an overdose would mean that the person took more than of a dose than, their body could handle. But a lot of the times it's actually just heat stroke, and, people weren't taking breaks and staying hydrated. So it's super important for that.
Yeah. And even not just at festivals too, like at events, like this is why people say like one of your top 10 things you should have as a raver is like a hydration pack. Whether it's a hydration pack or something else, it really is just like a safety measure, because we want you to always have water on you. Because again, like when you're just getting started out and say you're with a big group of friends, maybe you're pre-gaming, doing whatever, and none of you are wearing one, you might forget, or you might continue to drink alcohol or whatever it might be, and you're not drinking it as often. And like I had an incident in 2016 where I took some substances, probably way too much. And same thing, like it was an event, it wasn't a festival. So none of us had any sort of like hydration packs on, don't even know how much water we were drinking, and like got borderline like heat stroke vibes. It was really, really bad. So I just think back to that. And like, luckily I was okay in that scenario. But if I didn't get water when I did, or like my friends didn't notice at that state, like who knows what could have happened. So yeah. So like drinking water, Powerade, whatever it might be, you have like these companies now who are doing like the supplements with electrolytes that they pour in the water. I feel like just being prepared with that, and also like being very aware of your friends. Cause like I do that with all my friends. I'm like, whatever I'm doing, I'll like look at my friend. I'll be like, you haven't had water in a while, drink my water right now. So pay attention to your friends as well, and make sure that they're on top of that.
Yeah. We call them hydro homies or hydration police. we have like one designated person, usually like whoever's, staying sober, because they're going to be the most likely one to remember that for everyone to stay hydrated. But I will caution everyone that during COVID, at festivals before COVID, I feel like it was very common for people to share their hydration pack or like pass around a water bottle. Don't do that now. Even if it's in your friend group, I recommend just sticking to your own hydration pack, making sure that everybody has their own bottle of water. Because that's, even with these mitigation strategies that are happening, I think that some cases of COVID are still going to slip through the cracks, even if people are vaccinated. So stick to your own water bottle, but also make sure that all of your friends around you are hydrated.
Yep. And that goes like, yeah, like let's definitely get into that too. That goes for everything because it's extremely common for people to be sharing chapstick, boom boom sticks, like whatever. But I feel like at this point, it's not really like about that, and it's not to be rude or anything like that. You kind of just have to like, there is a level, if we're not going to be practicing 6 feet of distance here, which is going to be impossible, then yeah, like you really do stick to your own water, your own drinks, try not to be sharing as much as possible. And, yeah, where even with these events that are now requiring, proof of vaccination or a negative test result, like if your comfort level is still wearing a mask, wear a mask, whatever you need to do to feel safe. But how are you feeling with all of these new requirements in place?
I'm a little conflicted. The public health professional in me thinks that these festivals shouldn't be happening. But then the raver side of me is like I understand that festivals and shows for a lot of people are like mental health boosters. Like for me, they are. Mm-hmm. So I honestly think that mental health is probably a bigger crisis in this country than COVID is. Mm-hmm. Maybe not like death comparably with deaths, but like, I think more people probably are suffering from mental illness, and festivals and shows are a way to help with that. So it's sort of a balance. It's like balancing your own personal mental health with like community health. And I think that the measures that are being put in place are going to mitigate or like reduce the risk of the spread of COVID enough. We sort of had a little bit of a case study. And I know that like other festivals have been happening, but like with Lollapalooza, the health department said that it wasn't a super spreader event. I think they only had like 200 cases out of like almost 400,000 people that were there. Mm-hmm. And, some people might say like, oh, but like those 200 cases shouldn't have happened. And then those 200 cases are going to spread to other people. But I'm pretty sure that like in retrospect, that is no more than like community spread. So like those people would have spread COVID to people regardless.
Right.
So I think that if we use that as an example, and I also heard that like they probably weren't like checking their like vaccines and negative tests like as carefully as they should have been. So I think that they're going to work to a certain extent, as long as people are actually like checking them. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Like I understand why festivals are still happening. The industry, if it goes another year without happening, I feel like it's just going to collapse. And again, mental health and so. It's a balance.
Yeah, no. And I appreciate you coming on to talk about this too, because it's not an easy topic and like there is no right answer, I don't think. So yeah, it's really hard. I was going to say the same thing as you. I feel like it's just going to come down to like actually implementing the requirements, because we all know how like security lines go. And if things get backed up, do they start to like go quickly through things because they don't want lines building up? Like, I think it's all going to be like trial and error at these next few big ones that are doing this. I'm really curious to see like how accurately they're checking everything, just to see how that all goes. But I was going to say something. I forgot it. Oh, damn it. It's all right. But yeah, I mean, we really will see. We have some big ones coming up. Like I think Base Canyon this weekend, we have Beyond Wonderland and then Electric Zoo. And, there's a ton happening Labor Day weekend. So I think we'll know for sure then. But the other thing I was just thinking about too is just like, if from what we're hearing right now, we're like, this could be something that's like a part of life. Like it's another strain of the flu. It's something that may not ever go away. So there is a part of me that's like, these events have nothing to do but to adapt and try. Otherwise, like they go away. So it's like, I do give them credit for trying, and we just have to hope for the best. Cause otherwise, you have these other events happening too. It's crazy. You have like parades and sporting events and all these other places that attract hundreds of thousands of people. I think I saw a post today about like a state fair, and it's like, why the fuck can a state fair happen, but a festival can't happen? So it's like hard to measure all these things, but I think, yeah, if you guys are attending, just do the test, make sure you're reading everybody's, the festival's like guidelines and instructions so that you don't bring the wrong paperwork, you don't show up to the gate and you're not fully prepared to like get in with everything. Cause I know that could be really frustrating. And then I'm definitely going to pack a mask with me for all of the events, just in case, like, I don't feel very comfortable. But I think same thing. Yeah. Don't really be sharing water, drinks, any of that stuff right now. It's not enough time or place to do that.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of festivals are, most of the plans that I've seen, it's you either prove that you're vaccinated or you have like a negative test within the past 72 hours. And I would really encourage people to, even if you are vaccinated, to get tested within 72 hours of the event, just to make sure. Because I know people who have gotten COVID. I know people who are vaccinated who have gotten COVID from people who were vaccinated. So you never know. And also, if you're not feeling well, like, other than like the usual, like, if you have like allergies or something and it's like expected, then like, I understand that. But like, if you're feeling off in any way or something unusual is going on with you, please stay home. It is not worth the risk. My boyfriend lost his taste and smell because someone refused to stay home when they weren't feeling well. And he ended up getting COVID because of that. So now he has to live with that. And it's really, it just wasn't worth it. And it was completely avoidable.
Yep, definitely. And I mean, this applies to like local shows as well. Cause like even in New York City, I've been seeing like a couple people I know popping up saying they just got COVID, and I know that they've been attending shows in the city. So yeah, no, it's definitely out there and it's happening. Okay. Kind of to switch gears a little bit, cause this is also an extremely important topic and I'm glad we're going to touch on it today. Tinnitus is a huge issue that a lot of festival goers, artists, whoever will face in this community in particular. And what that is the ringing sound that you get in your ears from hearing damage from attending these events and not wearing earplugs. So I feel like for anybody listening, I've been there. I was in your shoes. I didn't start wearing earplugs probably until my mid-20s because I'm the fucking worst, but I'm not alone. I know a million people out there are the exact same way. And I just feel like sometimes you just get to a point later in life where you realize how important it is, but we should be knowing it like way, way, way earlier. I've definitely had I've been going to festivals since I was 15 years old and I never wore them. So I know I've already like have irreversible damage, but now it's like an absolute staple. I bring it with me to every single event. There's so many high fidelity earplugs out there that you can get, but you've done some really great posts about this lately. So can you kind of like speak to the information you've been sharing on hearing damage?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in the same situation. I did not wear earplugs for the first few years of going to shows and festivals, and I now have irreversible hearing damage because hearing damage, it really isn't reversible. Like once you have it, you can sort of manage it, but you can't completely fix it.
Yeah.
So I have tinnitus every like once in a while. I get it's mild, thankfully, because I did start wearing earplugs. But yeah, every once in a while I get like a ringing noise in my ears, and it is really annoying. And I know some people have it much worse. Like obviously, there's like a range of severity for this, and some people have it constantly. So you can imagine like how debilitating that is. And there is actually like a correlation between like anxiety and depression and tinnitus related like annoyance and severity. So, obviously causation doesn't mean, what is the phrase? There's a connection there. It doesn't mean it's causal.
Right.
So it's super important to protect your hearing. And I think that most people, or a lot of people, don't realize that high fidelity literally means like high accuracy. So if you're thinking about it, it's like, it's maintaining the sound quality of the environment that you're in. And it's only taking away those like damaging sound levels that you don't even really realize are there until you take the earplugs out. Like whenever I'm at if I'm at a show and I like happen to like take it out because I like can't, sometimes it is hard to, if you're like trying to talk to someone.
Yeah, you can't hear your friends as well. You hear the music great, but
yeah. So for like a hot sec, I'll just like take an earplug out, and you can like it becomes very apparent like what noises the earplugs are blocking out. Like it's very high pitched and like squeaky, almost like those hearing tests that they do. Like if you're like a certain age, like you can't hear above this pitch. It's kind of like that. Yeah. So, and when you're not wearing earplugs, you don't even realize that those sounds are there. So when you put earplugs in, it might sound muffled at first, but you get used to it, and it really doesn't take anything away from the music. I think people have worn like foam earplugs and have assumed that that's
so shitty.
Yeah, that's what all earplugs are like, and it's not. Foam earplugs are not made for live music. They're great for sleeping. If you go to a festival, I highly recommend having them because, like, especially a camping festival, or like, even if you're like staying at a hotel with other people, they're great because they block out so much noise. But the high fidelity earplugs, they block out like 15 to 20 decibels less than the foam earplugs. So it's a world of a difference. People don't believe me when I say this. They're like, why would you go to a concert and like ruin the experience by wearing earplugs? But it's not. That's a myth. So even if they really blocked out a lot of the noise, I still think it's important to protect your hearing, because
totally agree.
Like I said, it's irreversible. So, you want to be able to hear people for the rest of your life, hopefully.
Yeah. And not have oh my God, if any of you guys have gotten it the next morning, how many shows have you woken up from and you have the fucking ringing in your ear? It's the most annoying thing in the entire world, but I couldn't agree with you more. Even for the first show I went back to, the Mirage, I completely forgot my earplugs, and I was like pissed at myself because I know the difference of not wearing them. And now I literally, I have a key ring in my pack that I bring to every show. I attached it to the key ring, so I would never leave without it. I have multiple backup pairs too. And it's always on my packing list for events, but yeah, I can't stress it enough, especially if you're someone who's in the front or on the rail. If you're not wearing earplugs, like I literally feel pain for you right now, because I can't even imagine how much damage you're doing to your ears. But yeah, the high fidelity ones sound amazing, and you will notice, like, you will take them out at a show, and I swear I did that at the Mirage the other week, and I was like, I cannot believe people are around me are not wearing earplugs right now. That's how freaking loud this is. Yeah. It's unreal.
When you're downstairs there, it is loud.
Yeah.
It is bad.
Yeah. And I mean, so I've like talked about this on my YouTube channel before, but you can literally, worst case scenario, I've done makeshift earplugs because I was at Electric Zoo and we got there and I realized they fell out of my canister. Some festivals will sell them. They're usually like the shittier ones, but still better than nothing. But we were up in the very, very front in one of the tented areas, and we literally ripped my wet wipes that I had, ripped them up and stuffed them in our ears because we didn't want to lose our spot. But it was my ears were hurting standing there. So I was like, I'm shoving whatever the fuck I can in my ears. I've seen people tie t-shirts around their head, like just to give you some protection, but like, don't even go that way. Get the high fidelity earplugs so that it sounds really good. And you're also avoiding any serious damage. You'll wake up in the morning and not have any of that ringing, any of the issues. And I've also, brought them to festivals. Like I said, I have extras. So there was one time, at EDC Las Vegas, we went on an art car, which you can imagine how loud it is sitting on the freaking art car.
Oh my God.
Next to me, we started like chatting and he was like, oh, you have earplugs. Like I like forgot mine. And I had an extra pair and I was like, take these, like put these in right now and take these. So it's also a nice like thing to give out to people, even if you want to buy like a bunch of packs of like the cheaper ones and bring them with you. If you're like a rave mom, pass out earplugs. There's probably a million people who need them. So yeah, super passionate about that topic. Yeah. Anything else on that before we move on?
No, I love those serendipitous moments where someone's like, man, like you have this, I wish I had that. And you're like, actually I have an extra. And it just like, it works out I love,
and we're friends on Twitter now. I'm pretty, it
yeah.
was literally like, actually what happened, he had them like shoved so far in his canister, like literally 3 of my friends, we all were trying to like yank them out and we couldn't. And like, you know, the plugs I have are, you know, I have Zound, which I love. They're $20 for a pair, which isn't cheap, but they're amazing. And I was like, I don't even care. I'm going to give this kid my earplugs. So other thing that is probably the biggest thing you do, like we said, is like harm reduction. And I just did an episode with Dan Safe, so I didn't want to spend too much time here, but in general, going into the season, like what do you feel right now are like some of the most important facts or like information to share that you kind of like touch on a lot, or you feel like people ask about a lot?
Yeah. So this festival season, what I've really been focusing on and trying to get the word out about is that like people have not been partying that much, or maybe they have, but I think most people haven't been partying to the same degree that they were before the pandemic. So your body is going to be different than how it was before the pandemic. And especially if you're using drugs, your tolerance is going to be lower, which means that you're going to need less of the drug to feel any sort of effect. So take that into consideration and just like start low, go slow. So start with a lower dose than you would expect. And you can look up like onset times, like how long it takes to feel an effect on online. I recommend a website called Erowid, EROWID. They have like all the average onset times. You can look that up. I recommend setting a timer if you have like a smartwatch or everyone has a phone nowadays, but set a timer for like how long you think it's going to take to feel it. I recommend adding like 30 minutes to an hour just to be really safe, because you can always take more. You can't take less. So set that timer. If the timer goes off and you still don't feel anything, I think, at that point you can probably take like a little bit more, just to bump yourself up. But, just being aware that your body is not going to be the same as it was before, or it's not going to be the same. Tolerance, right. So just take it slow, pace yourself. And I think, we want to be able to remember and also enjoy the entire festival. So if you're going, it might be really tempting to like go really hard one night, but like, think about the whole festival. That might make you feel really shitty like the next 2 days. So just think about that. You know?
Definitely. And the other thing too, I know like, again, I haven't even done a festival just yet, but I know like there's other drugs that are becoming more popular. And I keep hearing people talking about like things like ketamine and stuff like that. And people are also combining different substances as well throughout their night. It seems to be very common. So I think you just did a post about like lethal combinations or things that people definitely shouldn't be combining together. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I feel like it's probably extremely common for somebody to be drinking the whole night and then taking Molly or doing ketamine and then take cocaine. Like, I can't imagine, but yeah. Can you talk about those combinations?
Yeah, for sure. So, when you were talking about combinations, I was like, oh my God, there's so much to talk about here. The post that I just did was just about 5 drugs that are risky to mix with alcohol. And I think, alcohol is probably the most normalized and most used recreational drug in the world. And because of that, it's also very commonly used in polydrug use. I think people don't, and polydrug use is mixing 2 or more substances together. Right. And I think people don't even take that into consideration. Like they don't even think that alcohol is a drug, right? But it very much is. And it very much does not mix well with a lot of drugs. So with MDMA, both alcohol and MDMA are very dehydrating. So, if you're going to mix those, you need to make sure that you're hydrating properly. Right. And then also alcohol can dull the effects of MDMA. So why would you even want to do that?
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Cocaine. So we're going from sort of like least risky to most risky. Keeping in mind that drug use risk is very contextual and it can depend on like your physical health, your dose, a lot of different things. But like in general, these are sort of like the most risky drugs to mix. Cocaine can sort of make you not, people think that cocaine is making me feel sober or it's making me sober up, but it's only making you feel sober. It's not actually sobering you up. So because of that, people will drink more and they're more likely to engage in excessive drinking, which can lead to, lots of different issues, like dehydration, liver damage, reduced inhibitions, things like that. So drinking excessively is obviously a risk in and of itself, but cocaine sort of increases the risk of you doing that because it reduces your gauge on drunkenness.
Right. I can't even imagine, by the way, like I can't even imagine people doing cocaine like at a festival because like just from what I know and like people in the city, like it's one thing at a show where I can imagine like you just have to do that so often. I literally couldn't picture like festivals are, you know what I mean? Like they're hours long. That's what scares me the most about people and especially about young people. It's like you get these people who have never done a festival or they're early on and they come there. I just saw this recently, like at even just shows in the city. They show up at 9, take their first dose. And like this festival's till 5 a.m.
Yeah.
How many more times is this person going to take something or combine other things with it throughout the night? And like, that's also just like a scary thing is the amount. And I know you touched on pacing yourself, but yeah, like just to touch on that in general, cause it's crazy. And I can't even imagine how much people are taking, especially when that's one night out of 3 nights that they're potentially using substances.
Yeah.
Damage to your body. It's crazy.
Yeah. And people don't really realize that like, and taking MDMA multiple nights in a row, it's, you have very limited reserves of serotonin. So MDMA releases the serotonin. And you only have a limited supply of that. So sort of taking more of it, taking it multiple days in a row, you're
depleting it.
Yeah, you're just depleting it and you're just setting yourself up to be really, for those post-festival blues when, when we get home. And I think that, it's sad enough getting home from a festival. You don't want to add to that by like depleting all of your serotonin. I've seen people just like be in a depressive episode for like a week after a festival because they rolled every single night and they redosed every single time. So just be aware of that. If you're going to do MDMA, I highly recommend only doing it one night and also spacing out your use. So making sure that, I think the rule of thumb is like 3 months, but in reality, like that's sort of an anecdotal rule of thumb. There's not like a whole lot of science behind that. I recommend spacing out use as much as possible because, and I know that Rachel touched on this during her episode, but like if you take MDMA a lot, you're going to lose the magic and that if you want to be taking MDMA for a long time, you have to sort of space out use or else you're just not going to get the effect of it anymore.
Yep. Definitely. No, yeah. Thank you for saying that. Cause I know people just have packed schedules and things like that. And yeah, you got like, the more you just go to these events and you can just like enjoy them for what they are and the experience and the music. And even especially after not having them for a while, like the more you just realize like you don't need all this shit to like have this amazing, incredible night. Like, whatever you got to do, drink your Red Bull or whatever, but like you'll be fine and you'll be okay. And you're not going to have damage to yourself for the rest of your life. So yeah, no, thank you for talking about those topics. And you have so much information like on Jess's TikTok and Instagram, if you guys want to get even more into these subjects. But, yeah, I think like the last couple of things I just want to chat with you about is we talked a little bit about self-care after a festival, but just in general from like sharing this information online and having this platform, like what have been some of the most rewarding parts of doing this? Cause it's what you do in your free time, like, right. For fun.
Yeah, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
Probably the most rewarding thing is when people actually like reach out to me and they're like, hey, like your content is amazing. Like it's helped me so much. I've learned so much from you. It's really rewarding to know that like my content is helping people. And that's all I really want to do. I want to help people to stay healthy and have a good time. And to sort of learn from my mistakes. I hope to like pass my knowledge down to people and the things that I've learned along the way. So I'm glad that like the knowledge that I've gained from being in this space for so long is like really is helping people, and people are like coming to me and telling me that. And the other thing is, honestly, we're going to get a little meta, like being asked to be on podcasts, like it's so validating that like people even want to like listen to me talk about this stuff, and that I like get to share this information on like to an even wider audience than I would get to just through my own platform. So thank you.
Yes, of course. No, I seriously, like, I just think these topics are so important to talk about. And like, I literally will see it even in the numbers, like clearly there is a need for people to like hear about this information. And like, everybody wants to have a safe festival experience. Nobody, we never want to go back to that time period where it was like very common at festivals to get like these news reports the next day that people were overdosing. Like that was happening way more common. Like we don't want to go back there. So, yeah. So hopefully everybody can just like, hopefully somebody took something from this, and you have so much information out there, but yeah, I'm sure if people want to reach out or have questions on, especially about like the testing kits and stuff, they can, shoot you a message, right?
Yeah, for sure. My DMs are always open. I keep it open because I know people do have a lot of questions about this stuff. So, feel free to message me if you have any questions.
Cool. And what festivals are you going to?
Just Elements. It kind of just worked out like that. I was supposed to go to Electric Forest, but we all know what happened to that. And I was talking about going to Halloween too, but that kind of didn't really pan out. So Elements is the only one, which is why I'm being like super COVID safe and like making sure that I don't get sick before the festival. Cause I would be so upset to have to miss the one festival that I have in 2 years, literally. I can't believe it.
That's so crazy. Yeah. Oh my God. You'll probably have, I haven't done it, but I know you'll probably have so much fun. I've heard really good things in the lineups. Like if I wasn't doing ARC, I literally was going to do Elements this year for the first time. And you're camping?
Yeah.
Too? Nice.
Yep. I'm the reverse. If I wasn't doing Elements, I would have been going on. Because I had my Elements ticket from last year, and I saw the ARC lineup drop, and I was like, oh my God.
I know. And then I saw that, I was like, guess I'm going to Chicago. Change of plans. I know. Yep. But hopefully there will always be more and stuff. And Elements is doing a really good job. I mean, Elements literally happened in 2020 because they were able to do like the testing before anybody else. So I'm sure they're going to have like a super safe experience too.
Yeah, they have the procedures in place, and I think in Pennsylvania the cap was at like 250. So
it's a small event too.
Yeah. This festival I think is going to be. It is a relatively small festival with like a big lineup, which is nice. That's what I went in 2019, and that's what I really like about it. So it's
still like boutique feeling, right? Before it gets too big. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, enjoy and have so much fun. And seriously, thank you again for coming on today. And at Party Safer with Jess, guys, go show her some love and support. And Jess, hang tight. Everybody else, I'll be back with some EDM news. Alrighty, you guys, we are back again. Huge shout out to Jess for coming on today, and sharing all of that information. I feel really, really grateful to have her on here, and I definitely learned a lot. So I hope this episode was really helpful. And again, guys, like, in whatever way you can, just please take care of yourselves, take care of the people around you, your friends, whoever you're attending these events with. Again, there's a lot of uncertainties right now, and people's comfort levels are different, but just take care of yourselves and be responsible. And again, please, please, please wear earplugs to shows. It should be one of your staple items you always pack with you. I can't even tell you, even to your local shows, like always bring that, and just take care of your health. Rest up when you need it. Again, test your substances. It's super easy. I will be again live tonight, Wednesday, September 1st at 6 p.m. Eastern with Jess doing a demonstration of that. But again, you can go to dancesafe.org to find all the information you need on substances if you guys want to dive more into that, or you can watch the episode I just recently did with Rachel from Dance Safe if you guys want to learn like way more about harm reduction. So with all that being said, let's just jump into our dance music news this week because we've got a lot of things going on. It's been 2 weeks since I've really done an update on this. So first and foremost, Dylan Francis announced that we have a full album coming from him, which I am so excited about. I can't talk. It is his third full album called Happy Machine, and it's coming out on his birthday, October 5th, which is really exciting. I like the singles he's been putting out lately have been really good and different, and I feel like experimental for him. So I'm excited to see what the full album has in store. So that's the first bit of news. Second bit of news, Grizz announced that he is launching his first ever marijuana company, which is really cool. He said in a tweet, "After years in the planning, I'm finally so stoked to present to you Astro Hippie, bringing the loudest top shelf flower exclusively to Michigan for now," in parentheses. So you can see like a little teaser, and his artwork on the packaging is really, really fucking cool. So very excited for Grizz. Quick little teaser about Lost Lands. I've never been in the past. I just did an episode with the Festival Finesser all about Lost Lands if you guys want more information on it. But he and I were talking about how we thought it needed to get bigger. Lo and behold, they did a post on Instagram a couple days ago saying, "Lost Lands fam, what if we told you there are going to be more stages this year?" So there you have it, guys. Lost Lands is expanding. Don't know by how much, but it sounds like there will be more stages at this year's event. So that's cool. We have our first news about Tomorrowland. It's going to be the Tomorrowland Winter Edition is said to return March 19th through the 26th, 2022. This is in France. It's their Winter Edition. There are already packages on sale. This honestly looks really cool because you can just do festival packages, or I'm pretty sure there's like skiing and snowboarding as well, because it's literally in this like gorgeous like winter setting in this like ski resort. So it looks absolutely beautiful. Definitely a little bit pricey, but probably worth it. So you guys can check out that. We also heard from Blau. So he did a teaser last week announcing that he was starting a new company and he's going to be a CEO of something. And the company is called Royal. So when you go to Royal's page, it just says invest in artists, share their successes. So this is a new business venture he's launching with a college friend. And all I know so far, it says, what if we could invest in artists and share their successes as they grow? We're ready to change the music business with you. Head to royal.io to learn more. Blau has definitely been really involved with like NFTs and things like that. So he is very big on supporting artists and making sure that they kind of like own the rights to their stuff. So I think this is really fitting for him and it makes a lot of sense. But again, you can go to royal.io for more information on all of that. But it's really cool. You guys can, it says we're building a platform where you can buy ownership in songs directly from your favorite artists and earn royalties with them. So basically sounds like a giant NFT kind of situation. Very, very cool. Okay, last two things I wanted to announce here, or actually two things I wanted to announce here. On Tomorrowland front as well, they just announced that they are launching a music division, which makes total sense with them. They have so much support from different event brands and artists that they've worked with in the past. So they just launched Tomorrowland Music. The first release, I believe, was with Afrojack, which came out last Friday. Yeah, it was Afrojack and Chico Rose and Never Sleeps Music. It was called You Got Love. So that's officially out on the new label. And it just says it's a dedicated music division collaborating closely with both artists and labels, supporting them in all of their recording and release activities. So more to come on that. Sorry. And last two things. We have the Time Warp lineup for their show in New York City, November 19th and 20th. This is like a pretty well-known techno brand, absolutely stacked lineup. So that's going to be a 2-day event in New York City. It's always pretty iconic. So you guys can check out their Instagram page for the full lineup for that. And then I saved this one for last because I'm so excited about this. They announced this while I was on vacation. I remember like sitting at lunch with my mom being like, oh my God, this is such a good idea. But basically, some of you might know the company Pollen. They put on all of these different events and experiences that are like travel packages. So a lot of the all-inclusive events you guys are seeing that these artists are hosting or that these festival brands are doing, like Spring Awakening goes to Cancun, or Electric Zoo Cancun, like all of that stuff. A lot of the times they're in partnership with Pollen. So the Brooklyn Mirage and City Fox partnered up with Pollen to present Departure, which is going to be an all new experience in Playa del Carmen, January 6th to the 11th, 2022. It says it's not just an extension, but the peak of your New Year's celebration. This is a new annual tradition to depart together on another journey around the sun. A new Mirage emerges as the Departure main stage and is surrounded by multiple custom-built venues, beach clubs, hotel takeovers, culinary adventures, and endless other after parties. 5 fully programmed days of epic sunrises and sunsets, one of the most legendary lineups ever hosted in Mexico. It's all house and techno from what I know as of right now. Come and join us for a brand new, I just jumped the gun. Come and join us for a brand new, fully immersive house and techno experience. Bring your friends to celebrate. Lineup phase 1 announcing this week. So it might already be out. I'm recording this like literally 2 days before you guys hear this. But pre-sale is open and it sounds incredible. I really, really want to go to this, but it's like a couple weeks before my wedding. So I don't know if that's the smartest idea. But if it wasn't, I would be going to this in a fucking heartbeat, like no questions asked. So that is incredible. Really cool to see different brands and artists like reaching out and doing these types of like all-inclusive experiences. And actually, I'm not even sure if that's at all-inclusive. I forget already. I have like goldfish brain today. But anyway, I just think it's really cool that you can combine really incredible music experiences with these really beautiful locations, and people can travel and feel like they're on a beach destination. So love it, all for it. Definitely check that out from Pollen and the Brooklyn Mirage. And with all that being said, you guys, thank you so much for sticking around till the end here. Again, definitely check out Rolita Couture's new Lunita Part 2 collection. I will be wearing it to Imagine Music Festival this year, so I'm so excited about it. Code EmmaK will save you 15% off your orders. And lastly, again, if you found this information valuable today, if you learned something new, please help somebody else out. Spread this information. Share it via your Instagram stories. Tag at raveculturecast and at Party Safer with Jess. You guys can also subscribe to us over on YouTube, and we are on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Discord, all of the things. Really hope to meet some of you guys this weekend at ARC Music Festival. And shout out to Lunchbox for letting us, join in on the fam meetup at Izu on Saturday. So definitely look out for details on that, you guys, if you're going to be in New York City. So with all that being said, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back next Wednesday with a new episode. Bye, guys.